We're now live.
Okay, awesome. This meeting is called to order at 5:12 p.m. The Halifax Regional Municipality is located in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. The municipality acknowledges the peace and friendship treaty signed in this territory and recognizes that we're all treaty people. And now we're just going to do a quick mic and video check. I'll just say everyone's name, and if you could quickly unmute yourself and turn the camera on and just do a quick mic check, then we'll get started. So start with me. I'm Zoya, everyone. My mic and camera are working. Cyril? Okay.
Hey, sorry, I was having some issues. I'm having some issues with my video. I'll try and fix it by the end of the meeting.
Okay, no worries. Abraham?
Hi, I'm Abraham. My mic and camera is working.
Okay. Crystal?
Hi, I'm Crystal. My mic and camera are working.
And Hanya is, I guess, not here yet. Heba?
Hi everyone, my mic and camera are working.
Isabella? I don't see her.
Isabella hasn't joined yet. I think you may have missed Simone on the list though.
Oh, Simone?
Hi, I'm Simone. My mic and camera should be working.
Okay. Damini?
Hi, my mic and camera are working.
And Bianca?
Hello, my mic and camera are working as well.
Okay, awesome. And no Gabriel yet.
Yeah, Gabriel
And
hasn't
then-
joined yet.
Yeah, Olivia and Elizabeth, you guys can also do a mic check if you want.
My mic and camera are working.
Okay.
Thanks, Zoya.
And I think mine should be as well.
Okay, great. So are there any changes that the committee wishes to make on the minutes for our November 20th meeting? Okay, if not, then I call for a motion that the minutes of November 20th Youth Advisory Committee meeting be approved as presented. This requires a mover and a seconder.
I'll move. I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, raise your hands or say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All those opposed? Okay, awesome. This motion carries. And were there any additions or deletions to the order of business?
There are no additions or deletions from the clerk's office. There was an item that was already added.
Mhm.
That was added yesterday. That is Halifax regarding the 2026-2027 municipal budget. And that's
Okay.
item 10.1. But there are no
Okay.
further additions or deletions.
Sounds good. If we wanted to have a discussion at the end of the meeting, if there's time about just our work plan, if there's any other
Sure.
ideas that people want to bring forward about who they'd like to hear from or anything like that.
Great, so I can add 10.2 discussion of work plan. So now the motion, if there aren't any other items to add, would just be to approve the order of business as amended.
All right, so I call for a motion to approve the agenda as amended. All those in, oh, this requires a mover and a seconder.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, great. This, all those in favor, raise your hands or say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? All right, this motion carries. Are there any conflicts of interest that anyone would like to declare for this meeting? If not, perfect. All right. Was there any correspondence received by the clerk's office?
No correspondence was received by the clerk's office, and the clerk's office did not receive any petitions.
And all right, I guess we'll move on to item 9.1, which is an update on the volunteer conference from last year.
Yes.
Olivia, yeah, you can go ahead with your presentation.
Perfect. So, I don't know if folks remember, but there was an invite sent out to the whole committee to attend the HRM volunteer conference that happened in November. I believe Abraham, Heba, Crystal, and Bianca all attended and represented the committee. And I just asked them to put together a little presentation on the sessions they went to or their overall experience at the conference. just so that all of us can kind of benefit from their attendance. So all of their slides are kind of put together in this one slideshow. So the four of you, when you see your slides pop up, feel free to take your turn. And yeah, we can go from there. So Abraham, you're up first if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's fine. So the volunteer conference was pretty good. I attended 2 different workshops, which I'm going to talk about. Then next slide. Okay. The first workshop was the financial management workshop, and there, he talked about like balance sheet and like income statements and how those works like in a business and how like, well, but if it's the bookkeeper or like accountants doing it, like they have to be transparent with it and also try to be as open to the stakeholders as much as possible because like if anything goes wrong or if anything is missing, that's not good because it shows that the business doesn't or the organization doesn't really know what you're doing. And it was really good. The presenter talked a lot about like transparency and like accountability and just being able to like, work with everybody on board because when it comes to like things like revenues, things like expenses, like you need, to always like work with everybody and like I learned that like, being a bookkeeper is not as easy as everyone thinks about it. Like sometimes like when bookkeepers comes to my mind, I always think it was an easy job. But after after this workshop, I just realized it's not as easy as people think and it's slightly different from accounting and even finance. But all in all, it was an amazing workshop. And then the next one. Was community voices in a changing world, and this focused more like on the Halifax and like climate change. So this was a very interactive workshop. Like we had to go into groups and then we like talked about like how the climate has like impacted like people in different ways, and I got to hear from people like how like the storms we had, the hurricanes, like flooding, like how it impacted people's life because sometimes we don't think that things like the climate really has any effect in our lives, but when you listen to other people's story you realize like this is really like takes a big toll on people, and this is something that we're glad that HRM is looking into it, and I'm really glad like Halifax is something like ongoing, and I'm just really happy. It was a great workshop. I love the fact that it was interactive, and yeah, the people presented, they actually came to present to our committee before, so they recognized me and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're the advisory committee," and it was really good to catch up with them too. But yeah, that was my overall experience at the conference and with the 2 workshops. Thank you.
Okay, I think next up is Heba.
Yeah, so my experience at the 2025 volunteer conference was also really fun. I got to meet a lot of people from different organizations, and I actually got to ask for some advice and give advice on youth outreach. So we might be seeing some emails from them soon for future meetings. Next, please. So I met with a lot of organizations. I met with the Halifax Regional Police, Halifax Regional Fire and Emergency, the Red Cross, the Blue Nose Marathon, the Canadian Cancer Society, and Girl Guides. We basically talked a lot about youth and how hard it is to get them to volunteer sometimes, and also how burnout people can get from volunteering if they take on too many tasks. So we talked about some ways to make volunteering easier and more appealing for youth, and also how to make organizations be seen. Because sometimes, even if you consistently post on social media, the algorithm doesn't push you out there as much as you'd like. So that's where my first workshop comes in, which is making tech work for you. So basically, our presenter was telling us different softwares and platforms that we could use to organize and contact like volunteers and your team members just to keep everything organized so everyone knows what to do and where all their resources are. It was a really good workshop. The main thing is that all the platforms they were talking about, I kind of already knew. It was mostly for people who aren't that comfortable with tech or just don't use it as often. But it was a really insightful workshop and it was quite interactive, which I really liked. And my second workshop was community event planning, which is also really fun, but it was also kind of overwhelming. Oh, that again. Thank you. It was also kind of overwhelming because it was a lot of logistics when it came to event planning, like all the budgeting you have to do, all of the emergency stuff, all the precautions you have to take in case something happens, like there's a missing child, and how many police officers should be on scene while you do an event, depending on the scale of it. So we learned a lot about that, and we had our own event checklist that we looked into and we made like our own imaginary event from. So it was really fun and it also made me like respect people who do event planning for a living because it's honestly a lot of work and I could not do that. But other than that, I had a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of people. The food was amazing and yeah. Oh, and the prizes at the end were really good too.
Next slide.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
think next up is Bianca.
Hello everyone, I'm Bianca. So yeah, a few months ago I attended the 2025 volunteer conference and I was able to meet Olivia, Abraham, Hiba, and Crystal in person. And it was really wonderful. And I hope that wouldn't be like the last time that we would meet each other in person. I was only able to attend the afternoon session as I attended school in the morning. I was personally intrigued by a life cycle involved in volunteering, specifically like recruitment, empowerment, engagement, and recognition and retention. I learned that there were specific analytics that were involved when it came to volunteering, like the total volunteer hours, the how satisfied your volunteers are, or the average engagement time that each volunteer gives. But I think my favorite part is also how we can tailor volunteer recognition moments to show that we value our volunteers and that we trust in their abilities and so that we can retain them more. There was a participant who said that they would send annual Christmas magazines to their homes just so that they would like get a reminder of the organization. As well as like they would ask their volunteers what their favorite candy or snack was, and then they would be provided with those treats at their next volunteer opportunity. So overall, I really had fun at the volunteer conference. But yeah, thank you.
And then last but not least, we have Crystal.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're all good. So I got to attend the volunteer conference as well, and it was a really great experience. The first workshop that I got to attend was the Making Tech Work for You workshop, and it was really great. They first started by allowing us to pick and identify where exactly we are in tech. It was very fun, engaging. The presenter was very intentional about making sure that we as the audience felt engaged. However, I do agree with Heba. That workshop was best if you've never done anything in tech. It was very informative if you've never had any background in tech. But other than that, it was also still really great. There were few things that I learned as well. They talked a little bit about AI on social media and which apps and platforms you can use to reach different groups and age groups. And it was really all across the board that there's no one platform that you can actually use. And then at the end, we had some scenario questions where we had to think up solutions for different scenarios. And that was very exciting and engaging. It really allowed us to have a lot of discussions as a group. I got to meet a lady who works for the Halifax Public Libraries, and she was really great. Had a lot of very good suggestions as well, and hopefully maybe they will come and have a talk with the Youth Advisory Committee. On top of that, also got to have a great keynote speaker. It was someone from Hope for Wildlife, I believe. And she really spoke about the history of their organization and how, they grew and developed and went from a few animals to where they are now. And it was very inspiring, just, learning the value of tenacity and continuing to grow and leave out your passions and convictions and where that can lead you. And then my final workshop was the intro to grant writing. I enjoyed that workshop. We had a professor from Dalhousie come forth and just talk about what it means to write a grant, what you need, and some of the things that she really identified were, as you're growing at your organization, ensuring to maintain accurate records and evidence of your need. And I think one of the things that I really like that she said is that when you're writing grants, you shouldn't show how your organization needs the money, but you need to demonstrate how that money is going to impact the community. And so for me, that was a really great highlight, rather than saying, we need computers or we need more staff. It's how exactly is the community going to benefit from this grant? And then she just talked about how, you need to start days before, not days, a while before, probably like months, and ensure to apply before the deadline, have someone read through it for you. And I actually got to sit next to a lady who has a grant writing business. So that was really fun. Got some great pens, great merch, some good food. And yeah, it was a very great learning experience.
Great. Thank you for sharing and for attending the conference. It was really great for there to be more youth representation at that conference. I think we brought the average age down a little bit. And a lot of folks, I'm sure you guys felt this as well, but a lot of folks didn't know that the Youth Advisory Committee existed or that you all volunteer on this. So that was great to get the word out. And also, yeah, I'm glad you guys were able to learn from the presenters. I'm hoping that this opportunity is something that we can carry forward every year. So if you're interested in next year and you're still on the committee, I will bring it up then. But thank you so much for attending. And I hope it was worth it. And yeah, it's really good to, I think Heba hinted at it a little bit, but a lot of organizations are speaking about how they're having trouble getting youth to volunteer, and they're kind of placing the blame on youth, but I think it's more of a holistic issue. So being there and being present was really great to show that youth are interested in volunteering. So yeah, thank you so much. And if there's any questions from anyone who wasn't there, for anyone, feel free to ask them now. But other than that, that's all from the volunteer conference team.
Thanks for the updates, everyone. That sounds like it was a really fun event. Does anyone, just off the top of your head, does anyone have any questions for anyone who attended the event or any comments about it? I think especially the workshops that you all described seemed really interesting, and especially like the community planning one and the grant writing. I think in terms of where I want to go with my career, those would have been really interesting to listen in on. Which one do you think was like maybe most valuable or applicable to what you want to do, I guess, either now or after you graduate? Or which one do you think had like the most real world applications towards where we're at now? Yeah, go ahead, Crystal.
I would definitely say the grant writing one was really foundational for me, because I've never written a grant, and it's something that I plan on doing at least a couple times in the career that I want to live out. And so it was really great, even if it was just a baseline, like part one class, but learning and understanding like what's expected of you and everything. I don't think I requested to receive the slides, but I didn't. So if that does change, I will pass them along to you, and hopefully then you can probably have that in your back pocket as well.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, does anyone else have any questions, or I don't know, any of those workshops maybe that you'd want to have attended or learn more about? I was thinking, for a lot of those workshops that you guys described kind of hit points that as a committee we've talked about wanting to give more youth the access to, like especially in terms of finances and being able to have those real world skills. Do you think that maybe it would be interesting to call some of those people back and give us a presentation or something that we can share with the youth on a more wider scale, or maybe to have more like youth-centered presentations on something that they talked about? Like I know that the EAC, when they presented to us, they talked about having like those mini workshops. I wonder how those went. Yeah, Hiba, go ahead.
I do feel like it's really important for us to get a lot of the organizations that were there to come and talk to us, but not only us, but also to schools and stuff, because I didn't even know that like some of these organizations had volunteer opportunities. I thought they were strictly employment ones, and that was also for people who are experienced. So I feel like it could serve a lot of purpose if they knew they were if youth knew there was volunteer opportunities for them as well in some of these, because I feel like for something like the Canadian Cancer Society or even Halifax Regional Fire, if you want to be a firefighter, then it's like right up your alley. So I feel like it would be very beneficial if we could push these out to schools and as well on social media to help bump the organization up.
Yeah, that is really important. Maybe we could continue that discussion towards like the end of our meeting with the work plan and see if that would fit somehow. I'm sure it does. Off the top of my head, I don't remember the wording for our three main focus areas, but I think there should be a fit in there somewhere. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? If not, we can move on to 10.1. All right, let's move on then. So 10.1 is a motion to request the chair of the Youth Advisory. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, Elizabeth?
Hey, I think so. I think you may have skipped over 912, the update on the youth services plan for Parks and Rec.
Oh, we do have 9.1.2. Olivia, you can give your update.
Yeah, of course. I don't have much to update on this one. And we are underway with the youth services plan number 3. Our last meeting, the youth services plan team worked together to come up with like some key themes to represent the different issues that youth are facing, and they're going to use those themes to design a survey at our next meeting. And I'm hoping that if anyone on this committee is interested in being a part of that more and you're not on the services plan team, there's like a review period for the survey questions. So I know Abraham's on the youth services plan team, so he'll be there when we design what questions we want to ask. And the survey is going to be sent out to the whole municipality. Anyone can do it if they're in between the ages of 13 to 24. But if there's anyone that's interested in, once those questions are complete, being a part of the review process, just to get another set of eyes and another perspective on it, you can let me know and I can make sure that they get sent to you for feedback. I think that's where we're at right now. That survey will be published in March. The goal is to have it spread broadly through different networks, and there will be some prizes that people can win if they fill it out. So hopefully that incentivizes lots of feedback on opinions from youth on what youth services should look like for the next couple of years. That's kind of it for now. The review for the questions will be happening in February, so I can bring it up at our next meeting and just send it out to the folks that are interested. But Abraham, I don't know if you have anything else that you thought the group might be interested in from being on the team. Not to put you on the spot there, but if you do, you can share. If not, we'll skip it.
No, I think you covered everything, and like everything you said is like completely true, right? Like it's just a great. I think the survey, once it's out, we can have some of the members on this committee fill it out. And like if they have any like inputs, as you said, like for the questions, or if they want to add to it, take it away, like it'd be good to have like different perspectives on it too.
Yeah. And Bianca, you're on the team as well. Did you have anything to add?
No, not right now, but it's a pretty fun committee, so I wouldn't miss out the opportunity.
Okay, awesome. Any questions from anyone about the youth services plan? No, I kind of bring it up every meeting, so I feel like you guys might be more in the loop than I am at this point. Yes, Cyril?
Kai, would there be any opportunity to get like a bit of like have one presentation about the youth services plan, like once it's sort of like closer, I guess, to its like not necessarily completion, but like, I guess at a later stage?
Yeah, absolutely. The committee can kind of decide what point they want to have a presentation on it. It could be when it's done, or it could be after the survey is complete. The idea is to create some strategic priorities or goals from the survey, and I could come to the committee for a review on those goals before they get approved as well, if that's of interest.
Yeah, no,
Might be
that
good.
would sound great.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll make a note to have you guys be on that review team as well. Any other questions? No? Okay, I think that's it for me, Zoya. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for the update, Olivia. And now we're gonna do 10.1. So based on our discussions from our last meeting, we had decided that we wanted to ask about Halifax and how it relates to the funding potentially by the budget committee and their recommendations to HRM. So the motion that Elizabeth kind of put together is that the chair of the Youth Advisory Committee write a letter on the committee's behalf to the budget committee regarding the importance of HRM continuing to fund Halifax. So based on the wording of this motion, it would need a mover and a seconder to approve that we pass it. So yeah, if we have a mover and a seconder for that.
I move.
I'll second.
Okay, great. All those in favor say aye or raise your hands. Okay. And
Aye.
all those opposed? No. Okay, perfect. This motion carries. And yeah, now I guess we can move on to our discussion. So I kind of asked to add it to the agenda just to see like where we're at with the start of the new year, and to see if anyone has any ideas of who they'd like to hear from for the rest of the upcoming meetings, or anything that you think would be valuable to discuss as a team before the next meeting. So yeah, if anyone does have any ideas or any suggestions, you can go ahead, just unmute yourselves and share.
Yeah. I was thinking, I feel like sometimes a lot of times we'll come up with like ideas that we like to implement on the Youth Advisory Council, but oftentimes like bringing them to fruition is often really like difficult, or it might not happen in the year. So it would be really cool if we could try to follow through on some of I think the work plan is what we call it, some of the things we wrote in the work plan.
I can also share the work plan. I just brought it up here. Just
Oh,
to
that would be
give as
great.
a refresher for everyone. Just one sec here. Everyone able to see that? Okay, perfect. And just let me know if you want me to scroll down or anything like that.
Could you scroll up to number 2 real quick?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, perfect.
sorry, it's only will let me go either.
Yeah, just off the top of my head, like Hiba was saying that we should have she said we should have some of those people that presented at the volunteer conference come and share maybe a more youth-focused one with us, and maybe collaborate with schools. Do you think that, like, as the Youth Advisory Committee, we could have any part in that, or just pass on the suggestion to those organizations to maybe consider going to schools and sharing the information? Do you know how we could go about doing that?
For that one, I probably, with the volunteer conference, I probably defer to Olivia, not to put you on the spot. That being said, if you have the contact information, or I guess, Olivia, I don't know if you have the contact information for any of the presenters
Yeah, I'm
from the
pulling up
volunteer
the
conference, I could definitely reach out to them about presenting to the committee, but in terms of going to schools, I don't know. I wouldn't have the answer to that.
Yeah, going into schools gets a little complicated. I do have the volunteer conference workshop list.
Okay.
And I can talk to the other community developers about getting their contact information. So we could definitely reach out to them pretty easily, and I think they'd be like there could be some that are interested in presenting. What were the topics that people liked? The grants was the big one, right? Intro to grant writing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I can look into their contact information. Some of the workshops were done by community developers who work for HRM, so they'd be pretty easy to get to come as well. But if that's what people are interested in, we can definitely look into that.
And could this also be, just while we're waiting on whether or not they'd want to go to other schools, could this be an opportunity to kind of incorporate that social media sharing aspect that we talked about last year, where we kind of do a quick summary at the end of each meeting about what we learned, especially if there's a presentation, and kind of share that to the Instagram or website accounts?
Yeah,
Is that something that we could
absolutely.
try?
I can look into, am I still? Yeah, I can look into, there's a lot of rules about posting on social media.
Yeah.
So if we have the content that we want, I can get templates that we can put it into.
Mhm.
But that is something that if we wanted to do that, it would just mean someone volunteering to kind of create what we want to be said as a committee. So if someone takes on that after every meeting and sends it to me, I can get it posted pretty easily.
Okay,
Do
sounds
that.
good.
I have a camera.
Or even just the written part, not necessarily the photos, but like the photos will probably have to be done by like internally, but
Okay.
Mm.
whatever, getting your words out there seems to be the important piece. So
Mhm.
if someone wants to be in charge, we can even decide every meeting like who's
Yeah,
going
we
to
could
do the
rotate
little
something. Yeah.
post for that one. Send it to me and I can make sure it gets posted.
Sure. Oh, but I see your hand. Just before I forget, though, I was wondering, Olivia, I know we've gotten presentations and they've given us the slides in the past. Would it be possible to share the slides on Instagram? Like, just making a post with those in it, or is that like an internal document for the
Again, it
YEC?
kind of depends. It's more likely that I could post stuff like that on the stories, not in
Okay. Yeah, I mean, even that's something.
yeah, I can get away with that.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Hiba.
This is kind of related to what we're talking about, but also not. But I know that we're looking at the youth action plan. So I was thinking that maybe instead, like, for example, I know a lot of us go to CPA. A lot of us are university students. You guys can go to your campus, and maybe we could have like a ballot box or like a Google form where we could get people to either look at the action plan or just let us know what ideas they want from us, what they want to see us do. Because I feel like a lot of people don't know us, but and also at the same time, they do have ideas of what they want to see, but they just don't know who to ask. So if we can give them like a resource to let us know what they're looking forward to, if there's like a specific event they would love to volunteer at, or if there's just something they want to see more of in terms of community, then like they can come and talk to us, but also just put an anonymous answer in a Google form or like a physical ballot, whichever works.
I wonder if there's a way, because in theory, to contact us, they can correspond through. Like, there's a way to send correspondence already, correct? Is there a way to promote how to contact us in a different way? I'm throwing it out there. Like, can we? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Could we do like an Instagram poll or something instead? Like if like just as an like that's another option as well.
I think polls are out off the table, unfortunately, on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Sounds
Mhm.
good.
What
Yeah,
about a
and I
Google
was-
form?
Again, that gets complicated.
Okay.
Whenever it depends on if it comes from me versus if it comes from you folks as volunteers. I think, Elizabeth, correct me if I'm sending them in the wrong direction, but there's like limitations on what I'm allowed to do when interacting with the public without going through certain steps first. That would make it more difficult.
Yes. I mean, I can't really speak to the social media side of it.
Yeah.
I don't really know what the rules around that are. I know, like, in your role, you probably, if you're directed to do something by the Youth Advisory Committee, there's a difference between if you're directed to do something by them versus you doing something on your own.
Yes, correct.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and in terms of promoting, yeah, like, I mean, people can submit correspondence either to me directly or to just clerks@halifax.ca. So, I mean, that, I don't know if that's something you would want to remind people of using social
Yeah.
media or what.
Like we
I mean,
could
there's not
make
anything necessarily wrong with reminding, I guess, members of the public or like followers that this is an option.
because we could be like we could make an Instagram post that says if you wanna whatever, here's how you would contact the youth
Yeah.
advisory committee. Like that
Yeah,
would be
like
a pretty easy thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in theory, we could also get a poster or something designed that you could take to your schools that say, have a question, here's where you would go. We just have to have the right wording and what the right information for what we're looking for on those things. But I don't think there's any issue with either of those things. But I can check to make sure.
Oh, go ahead, Abraham.
I know we talked about like trying to go to like volunteering fairs and stuff like that. But I was thinking like since like there's like high school students and like university students, we could do like if maybe SMU's having like a volunteer fair, I can like talk to them and see like if we can come in for that day or like if Dallas having a like volunteering fair or like just try and get out as much as we can because as we all discussed, not a lot of people know us. They kind of know us, but not really. But I feel like if we also like try to get out there, like that could also work too. But that was what I was just thinking.
Is that something you think would be allowed, Elizabeth and Olivia? Like for us to do committee things outside of committee times?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for you right now. And kind of based on my understanding of how the committee operates, probably you wouldn't be operating as a committee. I mean, you as individuals, as members of the youth advisory committee could certainly, like, I guess, tell more people about it or communicate about that it exists and this is what its mandate is and this is how often we meet and that sort of thing. It just wouldn't be official, like, committee business, I suppose, outside of a formal meeting, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Hiba, you had a question, comment?
Oh, I just kept my hand up for no reason.
Okay. I did have two follow-up questions for that. The first one was, Olivia, I definitely think we should, if possible, do a post. I think
Yeah, Zoya, you froze for a second. What did you say?
am I back?
Yeah. We can
I'm
hear you now.
back. All right, perfect. I was asking about the posters. I was kind of thinking, you know how HRM kind of puts those branded posters out sometimes when they're promoting certain events or even just highlighting an event that's happening? Could we have one for the Youth Advisory Committee with just the information like, do you have any thoughts that you'd like to share with the Youth Advisory Committee? Contact the clerk's email, like something as simple as that, but with HRM branding so people know that it's connected to the city.
Yeah, I think so. I'll have to confirm with Lee to make sure the proper process to go through for that. Because there's some things that I have to go one place and some things that I have to go to another.
Mhm.
But I can look into it and send an email to everyone with what the process is or what we're able to do. But I don't see an issue with taking that existing stuff and just putting it in the form of a social media post in the form of a poster. Because all the information is available on like a website and stuff. So we
Yeah.
should be able to recreate that in other ways. But I'll check to make sure so I don't promise something I can't follow through on.
Okay.
And then I'll get back to you guys.
Sure. Yeah, I think like putting those up around like the different DAL campuses or something would be really at least effective in letting people know that we're out there. And my other question was, is there some way that do you guys have like an internal kind of document that shows like what you can and can't do on social media with relation to the committee? Like if we kind of promote what the committee's about on our own time, is there some stuff we can and can't say when we do that? Because technically we're still representing the committee. If that
I
makes
know there's
sense.
rules for what I'm allowed to post and what
Mm-hmm.
staff are allowed to post. It gets a little muddy for you folks. I don't know what the agreement is for being a representative on as a volunteer on a committee. But we can definitely look into it and make sure that we have a clear answer next time, maybe. I don't know if Elizabeth knows more than
Yeah.
I do.
I think I can shed maybe a little light on it. I don't like in terms of the social media aspect, that's a good question. I haven't really come across a situation like that before where that type of question has been brought up. But in terms of pretty much outside of only the chair can speak on the committee's behalf anyway. So if you posted about anything on social media, like, hey, just so everyone knows, like the Youth Advisory Committee exists and you can submit correspondence to clerks at halifax.ca, that I don't see there being an issue with that. It's publicly available knowledge. It's available on halifax.ca that this is a mechanism to submit correspondence to the committee. So, and you wouldn't necessarily be speaking on behalf of the committee. Only, like I said, only the chair can do that. So members posting on their own personal social media, as long as they kind of, I guess, identify that they're not speaking on the committee's behalf, but just as an individual. I would think that's probably fine. I will have to probably take that back just to get some more clarity on it. Just as I kind of mentioned, I haven't had this specific question before, but I
also
can't really
think
see there being a big issue unless if it's, I mean, it would be a clear conflict of interest maybe if you said, oh, I want people to submit correspondence on this issue and have this opinion or something like that. But definitely something Olivia and I can both take back. And
yeah. Also, the
sorry,
youth
Olivia, I cut
committee
you
is
off.
like a little unique in the idea that the youth Instagram is kind of its own entity. No other committee would have a social media platform that kind of directly relates with what they're doing.
Mhm.
So it is a very unique situation, and we just don't want to send anyone in the wrong direction. But I do think promoting how to contact us, which is public information, but maybe not as accessible to where youth find their information, is like a reason enough to post it on social media and share it in other ways, just to make sure that we're hitting the right demographic in the ways that they prefer to get information. So I think that's a pretty good case to make this stuff. I just have to make sure we do it right. But yeah, that everything that Elizabeth said about your opinions versus the committee's opinions and stuff like that is also good to know just in general when you're out and about.
All right, thank you. That's helpful. Does anyone else have any questions, ideas for the different work plan priorities on who you'd like to hear from?
Sorry, I just wanted like a clarification. So, like let's say like SMU now is having like the volunteer fair. Does that mean like I can like if I wanted to have like a little booth for like the youth advisory committee that like I can or I couldn't? Like I didn't really get that part. Like,
I think if you were to go to that event
mm,
and talk about the youth advisory committee and
yeah.
what it does and that you're on it, I think that's fine. I don't think you can have an official youth advisory committee booth and use like HRM stuff and whatnot. I think that would be a different thing. We'd have to go about that a different way. But I think you can attend it and talk about your experience and stuff like that. If that's what we're going off of. If it wanted to be something as like having a booth as a committee, I think there's a different process for going about that we'd have to go down, and it could just be an individual choosing to do that.
Also, while we're on this topic, I know I had let Zoya, Cyril, and Olivia know about this. I just wanted to give an update on the request for the BRT presentation. So I had reached out to staff. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make contact with anyone, but I have another kind of lead, or I've reached out to another staff person that might be able to direct me in the right direction for setting up a presentation on the progress of BRT. So that is in the works. Hopefully, we're able to kind of coordinate something for a future meeting, just in case anyone was wondering about that.
Also, I just put a
Oh, for
question in the
the
chat,
okay, yeah, do
if
that
that's
now.
okay. It's just for a report. It's anonymous. I'm just looking for what representation's on the committee so far, but I didn't want you guys to have to say it out loud just because it's private. But you can throw it in there. I'd appreciate it.
Oh, go ahead, Cyril.
On the bright side about BERT, I was looking at the municipal budget outlook for like 26, 27, and like BERT did make its way into it. Looks like they have money set aside for like the different like arteries they want to put the new bus lanes on, like including Roby and like a few other ones. And there was also there was an item where it was like between 26 and 27, basically it sounded like lobby the provincial government for grants or funding or etc. for the BERT plan. So sounds like it's at least like floating somewhere. I think it's just as it has been the last few years, just waiting for some provincial backing.
Yeah, that sounds about right from what we've heard in class about it. We've pretty much spent all of last semester working on the bus rapid transit. Like it was like not real, but it was just a project we did with our studio class for Elora at HRM. But yeah, I think it is heading in that direction. I did have a question while we're on the topic of plans. Do you guys have any information or updates about how youth can kind of get involved in the suburban plan engagements that are coming up? I know that it's kind of like policy focused and open to the public in general, but has anyone is it a priority for HRM to kind of get a youth perspective on that?
I don't know if
I
it
know not
is.
everyone lives in the suburbs, but
I don't know if it is. I'm assuming that they've thought of it, but it might be worth it to reach out to some of the folks doing the suburban plan, because I know they're doing public engagements right now. So it might be worth it to see if they wanted to, I don't know, use the youth advisory committee as a form of engagement for feedback on the suburban plan.
Yeah, I actually do
Okay.
have a contact in planning that is working on or is kind of involved with stakeholder engagement for the suburban plan. So I can definitely reach out to that person and see if like if it would be appropriate, or if they'd be able to, if the youth advisory committee, I guess, is on their list as committees that they're going to be, or groups that they're going to be engaging with.
Yeah, I think it would be a nice opportunity because nothing's set in stone yet. And I guess that's what we're here for, to advise and share our experiences.
Yeah, I can definitely look into that for sure.
Thank you. And yeah, to Elizabeth's question, are there any presentations that committee members wish to receive or any topics?
Typing one out now. Can you guys hear me, by the way? I just
Yeah,
switched
can
here.
hear
Yeah,
you.
we
Okay,
can hear you.
perfect. So I changed. I was just typing it out, but it's probably faster if I just say it. I was seeing in the budget regarding the CARE like police diversion program, and they said that they had like diverted like 66 calls this past year, and the plans were to divert like 400 calls next year. I know currently they're just based in like Dartmouth, sort of like Westfall area. I would love to just hear from them, see if they have plans to expand, just hear how the program's been going, and also just seeing like whether there's anything as we as a committee, like can we put in a recommendation forward or, to like the executive standing committee just regarding perhaps like increasing funding for the program depending on how it's going, of course. Just because I know that that's one that I think is very important nowadays. Like I just did my psychiatry rotation. I think that, diversion programs can have a lot of value when it comes to like crises and, that sort of thing.
Okay, sure. Can definitely take that back and look into it and hopefully get something set up.
Sweet, thank you.
I had one last question before, I guess, unless anyone else has anything else. But in regards to the conflict of interest thing that you just brought up about like where we can't necessarily, as committee members, go to organizations and ask them to give a presentation. But if someone like who knows that we're on the committee asks if they can, our next step would just be to redirect them to you, right? Like your email. It's like if someone comes to us and is like, hey, can we give a presentation? But like we're not the right people to go to for
Yeah,
that.
no, they can definitely come through me. You can definitely share my email with them. I'm the the clerk's office contact for this committee. I mean, and you definitely can as well. I guess I just want to make sure I'm answering your question properly. Are you saying you don't think you as a committee member can go and ask people to present?
I was just clarifying.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can. Like, I'd have to, I guess, kind of reach out to them to coordinate
Yeah.
something, and just kind of let them know how presentations normally work for the committees. But I mean, if you have a contact or there's someone you know that might be interested in presenting to the committee and you think it'd be relative to the committee's work, definitely like you can let me know or you can send them my way. There's definitely no issue with kind of asking someone like, hey, would you be interested in presenting to the committee? And then if a member that is not the chair did that, that would just be like ultimately be up to you as the chair if you wanted to add like a presentation like that or an item to the agenda. But yeah, there's absolutely no issue with or no conflict of interest with kind of approaching someone and asking for a presentation. They just normally would go through the clerk's office. So if you did have a
Okay, that makes
contact, you
sense.
can share their information with me and I can reach out to them or you can give them my contact info.
Yeah, and I guess the last question I had based on that was this could be for anyone on the committee, but based on our first focus area in our work plan, I think it's on health and wellness. Is there anything someone would like to hear about? Because I think that's one topic that we haven't really, I guess, gone into that much or heard a lot of presentations about. Is there anything that anyone would specifically want to hear about with regards to that focus area? Or Elizabeth, is there anything you think we could benefit from hearing about that's going on in HRM? Oh, Crystal, go ahead.
I don't know. I'm wondering if this falls within health and wellness in my mind, but is there any chance to like talk to people who work with like youth in juvie, like whether it's like organizations that just help youth who are in juvie, just to maybe get a better understanding of how we as the youth advisory committee can also represent those individuals and stand for maybe better supports in that area. So I just wondering if it focuses on health and wellness, but that's just my thoughts.
I could definitely see like a mental health or wellness connection to that. Yeah. Bianca, did you have your hand up?
A few days ago, our school had a speaker who talked about nutrition and more specifically on women's health. And I was wondering if we could ever maybe do something on women's health since it is like not researched and not like raised public awareness enough for women's health. Like, well, we talked specifically like about the like birth control and like managing like PMS, menstruation, and those kind of things. And I was wondering if we could like not maybe if it's not specifically on women, then in general how to like manage like hormones and all that. But yeah.
Yeah, so for something like that, if you had a contact or specific organization you wanted to hear from, we could definitely look into that, but you'd probably just need, or at least probably Olivia and I would need some more specifics on if there's a particular like person or organization that you wanted to hear from or had a name or anything like that. We could maybe look a little more into it.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
And I only say that because I don't think there's any kind of position or anyone at the municipal level that deals with that or has a position kind of like looking at those types of issues. But yeah, if you had a contact or an idea or anything like that, we can definitely look into it.
Elizabeth, I was wondering, would you have a contact or someone at maybe the IWK who, or QE2 who might be, or maybe more relevant would be IWK, but who'd want to give a presentation or just talk to us about anything in terms of like children's health or anything that they're noticing or would like our perspective on?
Okay, I don't have any contacts at the IWK, but I could definitely take that back and look into it. Olivia, I don't know if you have any insight on that.
Not really. I know some people who work for the Integrated Youth Center side of things. And I know folks who work on some of the health teams that are partnered with the IWK, but nothing specifically for that topic.
And you said Zoya was specifically, it was children's health that you were interested in?
Yeah, or really anything within our scope that we could talk about. And Cyril also put in the chat the John Howard Society, working
I
with
did see that.
whether or not they work with youth in juvie.
Yeah, I can definitely take both of those back and look at the John Howard Society as well.
Yeah, that was it from me. Does anyone else have anything that they'd want to maybe ask Elizabeth or just talk about?
Does anyone have any questions about any of the information that I resent out about budget, about if you wanted to register for public participation or submitting correspondence or anything like that? And I did see your other message there, Cyril, about the Brotherhood.
Yeah, I don't have any questions yet, but I think in that email you had said that there was a document or some kind of material that you could forward us.
In the email that I had sent out about budget?
Yeah, there's something in there. I can check. Oh, I think it was just about recirculating the email.
Yes.
if we wanted
and
a
I-
refresher. Yeah, no, that's all good.
And I did just have a link there. There's like you can go on halifax.ca and learn more about like the public participation process if anyone is interested. But yeah, if anyone does want to register for public participation, you could just email clerks@halifax.ca. And or if you have any other questions, definitely feel free to send me an email.
All right, thank you. Yeah, that's it for me. If anyone else would like to ask or share something, go ahead. But if not, then yeah, then we can adjourn for the day. If not, then I guess I can call for a motion to adjourn the meeting. This just requires a mover. And thanks, Abraham. Before we do that, just wanted to mention that the planned date for our next meeting is February 19th. And yeah, Abraham, you said you moved to adjourn? Okay, awesome.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And yeah, so this meeting has ended
everyone.
at 6:13 p.m. Oh yeah, Cyril, did you say something?
No, I was just saying bye, everyone. Good meeting.
Oh, all right, bye.